Hi, and welcome back to Fountain of Youth TV and to my humble vegan kitchen. Today we're going to be making the healthiest raw vegan pumpkin pie ever. So come on down here and I want you to take a look at the very simple ingredients that we're going to be using. Here we have about a little over 2 cups of raw organic walnuts. And I soak them to get rid of the phytic acid. And it just makes it easier for digestion. I like to use walnuts. A lot of people use almonds or cashews and things, but they have a lot of the omega-6s, and we need to balance out the omega-3s with the 6s, and that causes a lot of health issues. So walnuts actually is one of the only nuts that has the omega-3s, and it's a pretty good 4-to-1 ratio with the omega-3s and the omega-6s. But I also like to kick it up by adding 1/4 cup of ground flaxseed. Ground flaxseed is the powerhouse. It's really huge in terms of the amount of omega-3s that it has. So I try to add that whenever I'm using some kind of a nut mixture. I try to add some kind of flaxseed to balance out the omegas, again, for health purposes. Also, because I don't use any kind of man-made chemicals or sweeteners, what our sweetener is going to be in all of this whole recipe is going to be using dates and figs. A lot of people can use a lot of just the dates, and these are medjool dates and the black mission figs. I like to incorporate the figs and do kind of a 50-50 ratio because for me, I'm not really one that likes a lot of sweetness into my food, and so I like to because figs are almost like half the amount of sweetness that you have with the medjool dates, so I kind of mix the two of them. This is a 1/2 cup of dates and a half a cup of figs. Then, so that's going to be our crust. That's all it is. This is all that the crust is going to be. But I do add just a little pinch of cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon is my favorite, and it's the healthiest of any kind of cinnamons as well. And so I do add a pinch of that, and the crust is so delicious. And again, you don't have to cook it. It's just the perfect consistency. And we put that all into a blender and we blend it down. Then we're going to go, and you'll notice that I'm soaking them. The reason why I soak them is because no matter what blender you're using, even though I have a Vitamix and it's really a high-powered blender, I just want to be kind to the blades and give more longevity to my blender as well. And I think if you soak them for maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes, it just makes them the perfect consistency. Plus, you can actually use the soak water in other recipes, and I use a bit of the soak water in when we're making the pie filling. So it's just kind of things to think about. If you soak them overnight, you actually end up with a wonderful sweetener that you can use and just put it in a jar and store it in your refrigerator, and you can use it in a lot of different recipes that you're using instead of using regular sugar and so forth. So that soak water can be very valuable. Then for our spices, I'm going to be using cinnamon. We're using ground cloves, ground nutmeg, and ground ginger as well. For our pie filling, again, we'll be using a medium-sized organic, nicely ripened banana. It gives it more of a creamy consistency. And I'm going to be using, because this is a really huge, deep pie dish, I'm going to be using 2 pie pumpkins, and it's about a total of 4 pounds. And we're going to make sure we wash them because it's raw. And I wash most everything that I'm going to be using anyway. And I have a little mixture that I use of Dr. Bronner's soap with water, and it's a really nice thing to wash all my vegetables and things in. So they've been washed. We'll peel them, we'll dice them up, and that will be, again, the base of our pumpkin pie filling with, again, and we will be using more dates. There's about 5 dates here that I've soaked just for about 20 to 30 minutes, and it's the perfect consistency. And I'll use some of this soak water just to kind of add a little bit, so it's not so thick, but it's the perfect consistency, just a tad. And you'll be able to find a free printable recipe of this down below in the description, and just click on to that link that we'll have there, and it'll take you right to our website, and you'll be able to download the recipe and have it right there, and it'll give you a lot more description as to what we're doing. So let's get started. We'll start with the crust. So here we go. We're going to be adding our 2 cups of soaked raw organic walnuts. Again, if you're doing a smaller pie crust, just a typical 9-inch pie crust, you probably would only need a cup and a half. But because this is such a deep one, I'm using 2 cups. And they've been soaked to get rid of the phytic acid again. Next, we'll be using our dates and figs. half a cup of each, and they've been soaked in spring water. I use spring water because I think tap water, chemicals, and even filtered water, this doesn't get any better. We collect this every week, and it's phenomenal, right from the earth. So we add these. Be sure you remove the pits. It's very important. This is what the pit looks like if you've never used medjool dates. These small little pits, and you don't want that in your blenders. It's awful. It would just really grind ruin your blades, and also add all these. It would be really not attractive in your pie crust, having all this broken up pieces in their slivers. They're very difficult to grind up. So be sure you remove those before you soak them. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to add this, the flaxseed, the quarter cup flaxseed, once I've got this all ground down to the consistency that I like. Now, if you don't have a high-powered blender and you just have a regular mixer of a kind, this won't be too bad if you really be sure you soak the dates. I've had a lot of my viewers say that it's really difficult to grind in there because they don't have a high-powered blender, a very fast speed. But you'll find it's so much easier if you just soak. Just 20 to 30 minutes is all you need, and it doesn't take too much of the sweetness out of them. It makes it just the right consistency. Okay. Here we go. Now I'm going to add the flaxseed and just a bit of cinnamon. To your taste. It's probably not even a tablespoon. And that's the crust. There you have it. It's the most perfect dough consistency. It's just amazing. And if you're wondering about this wonderful wooden spatula, it's a cherry spatula from Jonathan Spoons, and it's his tree spoons. It's just an amazing company. He's in Pennsylvania, and I only use wooden utensils, and I just love this. And he made this specifically for like the Vitamix, and it's the perfect length to get right down inside, and the width of the little spatula part is exactly where the blade is. It fits so perfectly. I just love these. So I've got quite a few of these I utilize in my kitchen, and I'll put the link to his website. You see how see how it fits right in between that blade, and you can really scrape it, and you go right around, and you get everything out of there, nothing stuck inside. I've just never seen anything like it. And when I found it this summer, when we were traveling in Pennsylvania, and then I've been kind of conversing with Jonathan, the owner and creator of these products. He's been teaching me a lot about his products and how fabulous they are, and they're just all natural, no chemicals used. They're just right from the earth, and I just so appreciate him as well. So there it is. There's our crust ingredients, and now just using your clean hands, we're just going to press it into the pan. It just smells so good. It smells so good. And you can see you can blend it to the consistency you want. I leave a little bit of the nuts kind of chunky because it's kind of a neat texture and flavor. There's something about textures when I'm eating, and it's just so delicious. A little bit of the crunch to it, it's just I can't say enough about this crust. But so healthy because you're getting your omegas, you're getting your healthy fats. And those of us who are vegan, we need to make sure that we're getting the omega-3s. We forget about that. We think, well, we're eating healthy food, but we aren't remembering we need to get in our healthy fats. If you're eating just almonds and cashews and all those other nuts, you're getting a lot of omega-6s, and that's not balancing out. You're not getting enough of the 3s, and it's vital for our health. It really is very important. And so, there you have it. No bake, no need to use a roller to roll it out. It's just so simple, and it's so delicious and extremely healthy. That's going to be our pie crust. Now I'm going to put it in the refrigerator while we're preparing the filling. Just kind of keep it so it's sitting nice. So now we're going to get prepared to do the filling. I'm going to put these into quarters, and then it makes it so much easier to peel them and to remove the seeds. And remember, wash them before you start to cut. You just don't know, even though they're organic, people have been touching them in the store, and they've been traveling in trucks, and you just don't know, in the storage. And it's just play it safe because it is raw. It's not going to be cooked, and we want to make sure that we aren't getting any kind of bacteria into our food. So I'll prepare this, we'll cut them and dice them, and we'll show you what we do next. So now we're ready to prepare our filling. The pumpkin has been all diced up and cleaned. It's a power food, but yet it's going to be decadent when you're done. It's a delicious dessert. And if you want to change the recipe, you can incorporate the butternut squash to replace the pumpkin if you like the flavor of squash. It's almost a sweeter taste as well. So it's just neat to just kind of have a variety of different recipes, but using the same crust. I use that same crust in almost everything that I do, including my apple pie, raw apple pie. Just give this a try. It's so good. So here we go. You'll notice in my modest kitchen that I have, I'm very practical, and I don't want to have to always keep doing dishes. So because this is nutritious and it's so healthy, there's no need to really wash in between making the crust and this, because everything that's in this is delicious and it's really been scraped out pretty nicely. So I'm just going to add everything right in there, so you're saving time. It's really great. So good. These are the soaked dates. They've been soaking for probably about a half an hour, and there's 5 of them, and it adds just a nice natural sweet flavor. Nothing man-made. It's all whole food, all organic. Just God created it for us, and it's just so delicious, so delicious. And we save the soak water because I'm going to probably be using just a tad bit of this into the, to just kind of make it a little easier to blend and just make it smoother. And then a medium ripe banana, always making sure everything's organic. But this again just adds another wonderful flavor and just made very creamy. Nice bananas and a lot. And it's got, well, again, the wonderful potassium. You're getting 100 good, wonderful, delicious calories. And when you're a raw vegan, you want to make sure you got to watch your calories. There's just so many things that we need to look at. A lot of people say, well, we can't eat vegan. I've tried it. I have so many health issues. It's because we're not really learning how to eat correctly. And if you read some of my upcoming blogs, it'll really give you a lot of information. So now we're going to take a half teaspoon of ground ginger. If you don't like ginger, then just don't add this. But to me, there's a nice little spiciness to it. It's wonderful for digestion. And a half teaspoon of ground nutmeg. And if you like nutmeg, you can always add a little bit more to it. 1.5 teaspoons of Ceylon cinnamon. So delicious. I do quite a good heaping amount. 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. I'm just going to add just a little bit of this wonderful date soak water. And if I need to add more, I will. And so now it's been all blended down, it's into the perfect consistency. And I always just like to take a little quick sample of and taste it. I think you could use a little bit more cinnamon. To me, you can never have enough cinnamon. I love cinnamon. So you can see I do add a lot of cinnamon. So that'll totally probably be more like 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And then we'll blend it again. And done. Look how beautiful. Nice and thick and creamy. It's just so gorgeous, so gorgeous. No need to bake it, no need to cook, nothing. When we cook it, we kill a lot of the wonderful enzymes and the wonderful energy and living energy that's inside of our food. And it's amazing. It just your body just comes to a complete state of pureness, and you're so focused because there's no toxins, there's no chemicals, there's nothing. That baking often and cooking often depletes the living enzymes and that wonderful energy that's in our food. So try doing as much raw as possible. It's just so delicious and so healthy. So now we'll get our pie crust out. And then we just pour this in. So there we have it. Now it's time because we're gonna be eating soon, so I'm just gonna put it in the freezer, maybe 1 or 2 hours. And there's just something about it's just so fresh and clean when it's really chilled. You may just want to keep it at room temperature and serve it this way, but it's just, I prefer it if it's come out of the freezer, and it just serves really nicely. And it's just a wonderful treat for your guests. And so we'll show you when we're ready to serve it. I'm gonna put it in the freezer. So I just removed the pumpkin pie from the freezer, nicely chilled, and now we're gonna serve it up. So creamy. And so, there you have it. My version of the healthiest raw vegan pumpkin pie. Give it a try. I know that your family will love it, and so will you. It's just in time for the holiday season. So, again, thanks for joining us here on Fountain of Youth TV, and you know our motto. Take charge of your health destiny. You can do it. We'll see you next time in our humble vegan kitchen. Take care. Bye-bye.